Action.
Well, good morning, race fans. It's been a nice 2-week break, but we are back here again. Episode 6 about to hit the airwaves. Very, very special show here today. Scotty Too Hottie and Evan Pornfrey here once again.
How's it going today?
It is going wonderful, my friend. How are you this morning?
Oh, we're doing pretty good.
Pretty good indeed. Hey, what do we got on the show today, man?
Hey, on the show today, we got Buddy Ray Jones, Josh Bloom, Jeff Brunson from Racing with the Stars Holiday Horsepower Drive.
3 awesome guests, 3 awesome interviews. Cannot wait to bring it to you here on the Announcers Booth podcast presented by Rapid Graphics. And a happy Wednesday morning to you, race fans. And, oh, man, it's been a couple weeks, man. It
has.
It's been crazy, would be an understatement. Evan, you've been sick. I've been busy at work. It's been chaotic, but you know what? We're here. We're bringing you some interviews that should have been here a couple of weeks ago. We apologize for that, but thank you for sticking with us and supporting us nonetheless. And we've got a great show for you today. A little bit different show, but still a great one nonetheless. No question of the week this week. We just have so much to talk about. And Evan, of course, you know, like we mentioned in our introduction, Racing with the Stars, benefiting the Holiday Horsepower Drive right there in Council Bluffs. And the Holiday Horsepower Drive, just a wonderful, wonderful charity that makes sure that no kid left behind at the Children's Hospital in Omaha, Nebraska, and to make sure that the kids get to Christmas each and every year.
Oh, absolutely. This was my first time being at it, and it was amazing.
Simply amazing indeed. And I mean, we've always said this, Evan, that the racing family, you know, when they come together is such a beautiful thing. What better way to raise a bunch of money for these kids in the Children's Hospital of Omaha than by racing itself?
Yeah, exactly. And like it was free to the pub, or not free to the public, but it was open to the public. And who doesn't want to go race with their favorite drivers? Exactly.
And we're talking, you know, go-kart racing and indoors. And Buddy Ray Jones, the mastermind behind the Holiday Horsepower Drive. Buddy is an amazing guy, sport mod racer on top of that. You'll hear all this in the interview coming up here shortly. But Buddy had this wild idea back in 2005, he said.
I believe so.
And he said, you know, I want to do something for the kids. And he'll explain later how the Holiday Horsepower Drive came about. Also on the show, Josh Blom, one of the guys in charge, as well as Jeff Brunson, another guy in charge. So we got the 3 top dogs of the Holiday Horsepower Drive that on the show today. And they're just really, really awesome guys. And all 3 of them race sport mod. I see a connection here. Sport mods, go-karts, and charity. That just that's like the perfect trifecta right there.
Oh, it really is. And 3 good friends on top of that.
Exactly.
What else could you ask for?
Yeah, you couldn't ask for any 3 better guys to help with his charity, just bringing lots of joy to children each and every Christmas at the Omaha Children's Hospital.
Exactly.
So we're going to take a quick break here and hear from 4 Orange Salvage. Just on the other side of the break is going to be our first interview with Buddy Ray Jones, a.k.a. Woody from Toy Story. You'll hear why in the interview coming up. But first, here is 4 Orange Salvage.
Evicted tenants leave a mess behind? Have an old appliance that you're tired of staring at? Yard waste, branches, carpet, old furniture, other discarded items you just want gone? Well, 4 Orange Salvage can take it all away. Call Jamie at 605-376-8532 for a quote today, or you can find him on Facebook by searching 4 Orange Salvage-Junk Haulers. Contractless payment through Venmo or PayPal is also available. Quick, easy, and affordable junk hauling. 4 Orange Salvage. We pick things up and we take them away. Serving Sioux Falls, South Dakota and surrounding areas.
So Scotty and Evan back here with you on the Announcer Booth podcast presented by Rapid Graphics. And yes, I know you haven't met Jamie Evan, but this dude is one awesome friend of the show and just a great guy all around. He does a lot in the racing community and around the Sioux Falls area, and just the business though too. He does a really great job with that, and the thrift store that I know he had running there for a little while. I think they're closed for the season. Don't quote me on that, but check them out on Facebook, 4 Orange Salvage Junk Haulers, if you need something picked up and taken away. Evan, to introduce our first guest here on the show for episode number 6. Man, what would be a good word to describe Buddy Ray Jones?
Woody from Toy Story.
Yes, that, but just, Buddy's personality is... he's a comedian.
He's next to none. He is a comedian. He's next to none comedian.
Yes, he's a comedian at heart with such a big heart on top of that. And this was a fun interview. And the nickname he gave Josh, though, I'm still kind of laughing about that. You'll hear about that later. But
that one was funny.
But no, Buddy goes into what his career in a sport mod has been like so far, as well as winning his first championship here in 2021, and how the Holiday Horsepower Drive came to be. So without further ado, here is the interview with Buddy Ray Jones.
So making his way over to the table now here at Joe's Karting, for the Racing with the Stars, benefiting the Holiday Horsepower Drive. Well, it's the man behind the Joe's Karting Experience and the Holiday Horsepower Drive, Buddy Ray Jones, sport mod driver out of Council Bluffs here. Buddy, thanks for coming on the show, man. And right now we're watching some controlled chaos, carnage. I think that'd be a good way to sum it up, wouldn't it?
Yeah. There's other ways that I'd describe it, but you've got that on some of the B-roll, I think.
I think we did, yes. No, you are basically the guy behind this event, the guy that runs this place too. And so what are we watching right now as people can hear the go-kart squealing in the background? Why are we here, and what is this place all about?
This is the 2021 Racing with the Stars. It's a kickoff to the Holiday Horsepower Drives charity event that happens every year around Christmas. We'll use a lot of the money that's made here to buy Christmas gifts and then donate some money to the Children's Hospital. And right now, for those that are listening in the background, you can hear what is a 12-lap qualifier. These guys are not racing for position, even though some of these qualifiers you look at and you're like, good Lord, yeah, they're racing for position. They're not. They're racing the clock. There's going to be 10 flights, or there is 10 flights. I believe we're in the 4th flight right now. We started at noon. They're racing the clock. Top 10 general public racers are going to make a qualifying A. The top 9 fastest celebrities with Alicia Lovejoy, the 2019 champ. She gets the 10th place provisional. They'll go on to a qualifying A feature for the celebs, and then by finish we take the top 5. We do a draw, and then we have the 20-lap big dance. But right now we're in the 12-lap qualifiers, and really there's been some incredible racing, and we've got some of the best, the brightest. We got Dallin Murdy out here, Douglas Hinkleman, Stu Snyder, Tyler Drucke. I think the one person out here, we were watching her earlier, is that Ava Dropp.
Yeah.
She's never raced the circle track. Came in Tuesday night, did 3 races, and I think right now, as of the last time, in fact, she's lined it up on the short shoot. She's been right around 3rd, 4th. A couple of times today, she's been ranked number 1 in the celebrities. She's an awesome micro sprint driver.
And definitely showed it, though, too. I know you and I, Evan, were watching her earlier. Really smooth through the corners, and I know talking with Cody Bull earlier, he's like, you kind of get humbled when, you get put to the wall by a 15-year-old micro sprint driver. It really teaches you a thing or two.
Yeah, it really does. Like you said, driving smooth. She's one. I think she might be up there.
I think she would be able to give Dallin Murdy a run for his money later on.
Oh, I believe so.
And yeah, so it's that is why we are down here live here from Joe's Karting. And Buddy, you've done a great place, with this place, I should say, done a great job with this. But you also race as well. And for those of you that cannot see this, well, because this is an audio podcast for one, just let me describe what Buddy's wearing here. The perfect way to describe it would be, let's take it back to the 90s with Toy Story and You Got a Friend in Me. What is the reason behind the Woody fire suit here, as well as the Toy Story Woody that's out on the sport mod sitting outside?
Well, if anybody's been following me over the years, I've always had Yosemite Sam on the side of my car. I get pretty excited, pretty animated like Yosemite Sam, but I got to find out that a lot of people under 30 don't even know who Yosemite Sam is. I'm like, how do you not know Looney Tunes? But I was going up to get my car wrapped, and on the way up, I just called an audible to myself. I was like, instead of Yosemite Sam, we're going to put Woody. All the kids like Woody from Toy Story. All the parents, I've met 90-year-old grandparents that know who Woody is, and I've met 2-year-olds that know who Woody is, and everybody in between. And so I thought it'd be kind of neat for the kids. When you go out to the track, it doesn't matter if you're Dallin Murdy, Ava Groff, Buddy Ray, Chris Abelson, or whoever, Chase Elliott, even in the NASCAR series. As adults, a lot of us know who these drivers are, but when you're a 5, 6, 7-year-old kid, let's be real, they just want to eat soda or drink soda, eat popcorn. They're going to the races because their parents took them. And a lot of those people, or a lot of those kids don't even know who the drivers are, so there's a disconnect there. But boy, when they see Woody walking down the racetrack, I actually have a video from about 3 years ago, up at Denison. This kid is yelling / screaming / crying. He's real. Woody's real. And that's when I was like, all right, I'm going to bring out the fire suit. I've had some of the best drivers in the Midwest that will bring their kids over in the pits. They'll put, hey, bud, you can take a picture. Shannon Malberg's one of them at Denison. He's always bringing his boys over to take a picture with Woody. And then as the adults, not going into detail, but you can always tell where a Woody joke's going to go with the adults around in an adult beverage.
Exactly. No, it's a great thing, and with the Holiday Horsepower Drive, you founded this charity, and like you said, it's all about the kids, at the racetrack. So, you dress as Woody from Toy Story, so they recognize, someone that they know. So, keeping it all about the kids, what is the Holiday Horsepower Drive? I know we had you on last season, but going into it again, what is the Holiday Horsepower Drive, and what are you guys all about?
The Drive, as we call it for short, the Holiday Horsepower Drive, we started it in 2006. Surprisingly enough, it was supposed to be a one-and-done deal.
Right.
I actually remember the night I got up, my wife and I were watching Desperate Housewives. Yes, I'm that guy. Eva Longoria is hot. I'm sorry. I said it. She's fancy like Applebee's. But you gonna survive over here?
I don't think so.
But I remember I made a bowl of ice cream. I was like, I think we should do something for the kids. They're our biggest fans at the racetrack. And so back then, my wife and I were dating. She's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to do a Christmas for all the kids at the Children's Hospital. My wife would tell you, she thought I was insane. I was nuts. So I put a post out on dirtdrivers.com, and some racers that, surprisingly, I'd never even talked to. I knew who they were. I respected them, but it's not like we ran in the same social circles. They're like, I think we can do this. And in 2006, we did the first holiday horsepower drive visit to the hospital, and we donated something like $15,000 worth of T-shirts and TVs and game systems and money and all kinds of stuff. And then in 2007, I never thought about it. Well, then Joe Koziski, I was walking around the pits at I-80, and Joe's like, hey, what time is the Holiday Horsepower Drive visit this year? I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, the hospital visit you did last year. I'm like, yeah. Oh, you got to do that again. That really helps dirt track racing, and it helps the local racing scene. You've got to do that again. And keep in mind, this is September. It's farthest thing from my mind. And I was like, oh, okay. So we went ahead and did it, and ever since then, so literally every year except for 2020, which we didn't go to the hospital, or we didn't have the Racing with the Stars due to COVID, but we still donated to the hospital. This is year number 16.
Wow.
And so long time, it's been a labor of love, a lot of work. Wouldn't trade it for anything, wouldn't miss it for anything. And it's not what I do. You look at the crowd up there, it's what they do. It's a community effort we've got people here from every class, every sanctioning body. We've had drag racers in this. We've had NASCAR Cup Series drivers donate T-shirts and hero cards. I might have came up with the idea, but if it wasn't for the racing community, this wouldn't be a movement. It wouldn't be what it is. So it's not me. It's what they did.
And it's something that, I always say time and time again, it's a beautiful thing when the racing community and family comes together. And it's stuff like this is what, at least for me, really warms my heart. And, you're doing it for the kids. And, that's what it's all about here. And like we said, though, too, buddy, you're a race car driver yourself. And this season had to have been one of the most exciting seasons you've ever had.
By far.
And to top it all off, your very first track championship. What was this season like for you? And can words even describe your 2021 season?
To be honest with you, I don't think in a lot of ways it's hit me yet. I really don't. I've told people that I think it hurt me a little bit winning a championship because I tell everybody, the tallest mountain on the earth is Mount Everest. You climb to the top of Everest, well, you can't get any taller than Everest, so where do you climb from there? So part of me feels like, I've accomplished everything I wanted to do in my racing career, and then I look back at this year, and you look, it doesn't matter if you go to Raceway Park, Crawford County Speedway, Eagle, I-80, it doesn't matter where you race. I look up in those stands, and for every one Buddy Ray or every one Chris Abelson, there's probably 15 or 20, if not more, other drivers that would love to have the chance to do what we do, even for one night.
Right.
And it's a very humbling experience. And then you look at some of these kids that we help at Christmas time, knowing that some of them will never even make it to be our age to do what we do. It's even more humbling. But this year, I've raced Bristol, 2 feature wins, a track championship. It really hasn't sunk in, and it may not sink in. I've never been to the IMCA National Awards Banquet. It might hit me then.
Right.
It might hit me when I go to the track banquet. I'm used to hearing, with 27 starts with an average finish of 35th and 3 spinouts each night, there's Buddy Ray. I'm not used to hearing the word track champion. If it wasn't for so many people that support me, help me out with my sponsors and stuff like that, I would never be in this position. And I have a hard time saying I, because racing's a team sport, on more levels than most people think it is. You have sponsors that are helping you out. It's everybody working together to get that driver to the championship spot. So it's not my championship, it's our championship. It's a team sport.
And really, then, just taking the knowledge that you've learned and gained over the years to get you to that championship spot, now you have the opportunity to pass it down to everyone else that's trying to get there. And, just being that role model, though, too, like you are for the kids, being Woody from Toy Story.
Yeah, it's kind of scary when you think about the history of my racing and me being a role model for other drivers.
I know the feeling. I know the feeling. Evan would
really
too.
Him? Oh yeah. So hopefully I've made my mark, and hopefully I we brighten a lot of kids. I was just thinking the other night, the week before the Racing with the Stars here. You figure 16 years. You take 16 years times 100 kids a year. That's 1,600 kids in the hospital that we've lightened their moods for Christmas, their parents. And then I can tell you that the money that we've donated to the Children's Hospital, part of that money has gone for them to build their new wing.
Right.
I don't know how many heart machines we've helped purchase. Quite a few of those. The money from the drive has actually gone to an eating disorders clinic for young women and men, mainly women. So outside of the 1,600 kids at Christmas, you look at the tens of thousands of kids that have benefited from the help that we've done with the hospital. It's kind of jaw-dropping, really.
Absolutely, and it's just to walk in and give a gift to a child who's really having a tough time in their life, but then just to see their face light up, it's got to be one of the most best feelings in the world.
It is, and I can't go into all the details of some of the kids, but one of the funniest things I've ever seen, it was awesome. A couple quick stories. There is a young child that had a heart surgery, some kind of heart surgery, heart something or other. He was in a coma, and they had to put him in a medically induced coma, and he was really mad, to say the least, because they told him that he would probably miss the drivers. He wanted to see the race car drivers.
Oh, man.
And the day that we showed up, I believe it was Kyle Trout. The day we showed up, Kyle Trout walked in, and that kid woke up out of that coma when Kyle was there. Kyle Trout, the driver of the 88 Sport Mod out of Omaha, he was pretty choked up. The parents were choked up because they didn't think that he was going to wake up in time. And that kid's like, I told you I wasn't going to miss the race car drivers.
Wow.
We actually had another young child. I can't remember if it was boy or girl. It was about 4 or 5 years ago. He thought they thought they won the lottery. We had gift cards that were donated one year.
Right.
And I want to say for some reason it was like GameStop or Gamers. And this kid's only 6, 7 years old. When he got that gift card, of course the dollar amount wasn't rubbed off. They had to, activate the gift card. He thought he had $1 million credit card. That was awesome. The $1 million credit card. I'll never forget that one. And then, of course, the kid that woke up out of the coma just to meet the race car drivers. What's shocking with all the families and the kids that we've met, how many patients have come out of the racing community locally, believe it or not. I can't remember. I bet you there's been a couple hundred racers that were in the hospital over the years, and their kids are in the hospital and like, okay, we knew about the drivers, but we didn't really know what the drive was all about. When you have a child that is suffering from asphyxia-related conditions or lymphoma or cancer or whatever, of course you want to provide a Christmas, but when you're there with the child during the holidays, Christmas really isn't on the front burner. It's making your child better and healthier so they can go home to enjoy Christmas. Well, we bring the Christmas to you, and the parents, I've had other racers that, it's just we didn't know each other, so we didn't talk. And then after that, every year they're like, what do you need? What can we do to donate? Stuff like that. Now we truly understand. But I've told everybody, if you're not taking a part of the Racing with the Stars or going to the hospital to see these kids, you're almost not human. I mean, I know people have got their engagements and stuff like that. There's a lot of people out farming and deer hunting right now, but we got a good crowd here. They know what they're here for. I applaud everybody for being here. So it's a humbling experience all the way around.
Well, but I mean, we can't applaud you enough for putting this on, as well as the Holiday Horsepower Drive. I know you got a couple of guys that help you out along with the wives. One of them sitting right behind us here waiting for his interview, Josh Blom, as well as Jeff Brunson and their wives as well.
I keep mentioning that joke, Fancy Like Applebee's. You ever notice that Josh Blom? Yeah, he's graduated from a national sport mod pack tracking champion to his car. He may not be the fastest, but I'd be danged if he ain't fancy like Applebee's. His wraps on his car. I mean, I'm waiting for the baby back ribs. Waiting for my baby back. I'm just waiting for that baby back bloom. Don't get saucy with me, boy. He's wondering what we're talking about. Next time you go up to Raceway Park or wherever you race, call him Baby Back Bloom.
That is definitely going on the list. Definitely going on the list indeed.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, buddy, we can't thank you enough for coming on the show and just creating such a wonderful event, a wonderful charity to help out the kids here at Christmas time especially. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, my friend.
Yeah, one thing, if I can real quick, I'd like to thank Rich Streep, the owner of Joe's Karting, for letting us do this every year. Joe's Karting, Rich is awesome, biggest sponsor on the card. Without the support of Joe's, I wouldn't be racing. And then for me, I'd like to give a shout out to All-Star Performance, Joel Priest JP3 Transmissions. We got Driven Race Gear with Tom Godfrey, Cody Novak with Top Notch Long Hair, Dave Daughtry with Auto Valley Park Stores here in Council Bluffs. With all these, with this team of advertisers, sponsors, I just these partners, I wouldn't be on the racetrack. So I just want to make sure I thank them.
Absolutely, and support your local businesses that support your local racetracks and local racing. So yes, could not do it without them. And buddy, thank you once again.
All right, thank you guys.
Man, that dude is. He's got some stories.
Yeah, he does. He's pretty funny.
Always got a smile on his face too, and and he always keeps you laughing. He's really what the sport of racing needs is guys like Buddy who are just out there to have fun, but also bringing smiles to children's faces. Because who doesn't love Woody from Toy Story?
I know I do.
I know I do too. So yeah, it's a very, very great guy, and what a wonderful cause that he started with the Holiday Horsepower Drive. Just so amazing. Cannot wait to see the post on Facebook from the children's visit to the hospital this year. We're going to take another quick break here, hear from our title advertiser and Rapid Graphics, and just on the other side of that break, it is going to be the interview with Josh Blom, driver of the guess what? 25 Sport Mod. No, not the one that Buddy drives. It's a different one, we promise you. And we will hear from him right after this.
Rapid Graphics, located in Rock Rapids, Iowa, on the corner of Highway 9 and 75, specialize in graphics and signage of all types. They specialize in indoor and outdoor signage, banners, commercial vehicles, custom logos, race car graphics, and much, much more. Rapid Graphics have the tools to get your job done, and you can find them easily on Facebook at Rapid Graphics 12. For more information, contact Rapid Graphics for all of your custom graphic and signage needs today.
So back here once again, Scotty and Evan, the Announce Booth podcast presented by Rapid Graphics. And Evan, we got to say, Rapid Graphics, Blake is awesome at what he does.
He's an amazing guy.
And he's done some work for us, including a banner that he made for us that we actually debuted at the Racing with the Stars for the Holiday Horsepower Drive. And this thing looks sick. It really is.
Yeah, it really is.
So a big thank you to Blake. Check him out on Facebook, Rapid Graphics 12, for more information on what he does there. That's going to bring us to our second interview of the show here, and the one driver of the number 25 from Sioux City, Iowa. That is Josh Blom. And Josh is a busy guy, too. I mean, not only with the Holiday Horsepower Drive, too, with him and his wife and their son, but also just... He does a lot, though, too. He's got his own graphics business as well. He does some hot rod stuff. He does a little bit of everything. And so he goes in to explain what his job is as part of the Holiday Horsepower Drive and his racing career as well. So without further ado, here is Josh Blom.
So back here at Joe's Karting for Racing with the Stars, benefiting the Holiday Horsepower Drive. We got another member of the drive here with us. And Josh, I'm sorry about this, but it's a Baby Back Blom. I butchered that. Baby Back Blom. As Buddy Ray Jones said, don't get saucy with me, boy.
Oh, boy.
Josh Blom, your driver of the 25 Sport Mod as well. 25, you and Buddy have the same race number. How did that come to be?
Oh, I don't even know. It had to have been a mistake somewhere. I don't know. I think he was supposed to be 52, and Buddy's dyslexic, so, he told him the wrong thing at the sticker shop.
So Josh, one of the guys behind the Holiday Horsepower Drive as well. And so Buddy founding this, back in 2006, that he said, when did you come on and be a part of this drive along with Jeff Brunson as well?
I became a member of this probably 2010, 2011. And Brunson's got in a couple years after that. But I went to one of his events that was at another track before Joe's Karting was a thing.
Right.
And at that point, I had decided I wanted to be a part of it, not just because of the racing, but once I found out what he was doing with it, the reasoning behind it, then I thought, well, that's really neat. That's a good charity or cause to be a part of.
Absolutely. And just on top of, Buddy, you're racing as well. So being involved with, the charity here and going to the hospital, getting the donations, raising the money, what has the experience been like for you? We heard from Buddy in the last interview, but what's the experience been like for you each and every year?
The first time I got to go to the hospital for the visit, that was a very humbling experience. That's one of those deals that'll definitely put you in your place and bring a tear to your eye. Beforehand, when that happened, we didn't have any children of our own, so it didn't hit quite as hard to home base as it would have a few years later, but going and experiencing the joy that those children got to experience, got to see when we walked in the room and brought them a gift, it was like a bunch of rock stars walking in, and they were thrilled. That was the best part, is seeing the light in their eyes. They're sitting in the hospital. They don't feel good. They've got whatever problem it may be, and all of a sudden they forgot what their problems were for 10 minutes while we were there. That was an eye-opening experience.
And just to be part of something like this, there's got to be no greater feeling in the world, like we were saying with Buddy. And now, bringing with the Racing with the Stars, having the racing community come together for such a great cause. I mean, that's got to be real humbling to be a part of that, too.
It is. It's great to see so many racers from so many different walks of life come together and help out. We've got, you've got your classes of drivers. On the weekly show, you pick on each other. You make fun of the Hornets. The Hobby Sox make fun of the Sport Mods and this and that and whatnot. But here, it doesn't matter what you drive. As long as you're a race car driver and you're putting your heart into it, it doesn't matter what class you drive. We're all in this together.
Absolutely. And you mentioned, classes of cars. You, of course, being a Sport Mod driver just like Buddy. And you've had a great year as well, too, when you've been out on the track and not busy with stickers like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And so what was your 2021 season like then?
It was really sporadic. Unfortunately, we started out the year with a wrecked race car the first night. And we rebounded really quick. We had a client that decided to get out of it and took care of us on getting his car. And with the help of Jeff Olson and Caleb Brunson, we got our new car out on the track the very next Saturday after we wrecked the first one. And in a way, it was kind of one of those blessing in disguise deals. The new car that we got was only a couple of years newer than ours. God, who let Buddy back in here? I thought we got him kicked out. It was a blessing in disguise. The car was actually better. It had a lot less nights, and we learned a lot of great new things on it. It was a very fast car. We ended up getting a win about beginning of August, which for some reason seems to be when I hit my stride and I start getting top threes and whatnot. So, but other than that win, we actually had a really good year with it. We got to race Park Jefferson as much as we could with the limited schedule they had. We raced Raceway Park for 4 nights, I think. We made it to Fairmont, Minnesota. We made it to Denison and had decent runs there at those tracks, even though it had been the first time we'd been there in probably over a year, especially with last year and the COVID and all that. So
right.
It was, for a short season, it was actually pretty fun. It was a good season, and we definitely used up the body that we had on the car for 15 nights.
And you're also in the sticker business too. Artworks Graphics would be the name of the game. And
yeah.
How many race cars do you see like on a yearly basis doing race car wraps, and then also the other stuff that you do as well?
Between the beginning of the year wraps and new wraps for the Super Nationals, we wrap about 50 cars a year. Wow. And it's pretty much a one-man operation now. My wife is busy, taking care of the house and our son, so she doesn't get a chance to help out too much, but which is fine because she takes care of the books, and I'm definitely not a mathematician. So, for 50 cars for basically one person is not too terrible. And all of our customers have become really good friends of ours. We're sending wraps out in quite a few different states. It's not just local, and we're doing pretty good. For, like I said, a one-man operation, 50 cars is quite a bit. So,
and still finding time to have a little fun with some hot rods too.
Yeah,
that we've seen on Facebook. So,
yep, we located my grandpa's show truck from the 70s, and with my in-laws' help, my father-in-law, brother-in-law, my mother-in-law, we scrounged up the money to bring that thing home, and that's been another fun thing too. And it's amazing how many racers are actually involved in the hot rod community too. you learn how much that those two groups of people coincide.
Absolutely. And so, like, what has been like one of the best things about being involved in the racing community, not only just with the Holiday Horsepower Drive, but just in general? How would you describe that experience through your career?
I think the best part about it is just the people. You hear a lot of people say that, but if it weren't for motorsports and hot rodding, I wouldn't know even half the people that I do. And we've met so many great people, and again, like I said, from so many different walks of life, that it's really amazing when certain people say the racing community. They're not kidding you. It is a huge community, and it's amazing the people you get to meet. I walked into the booth for Aero Race Wheels at the Super Nationals, and Kelly Shyrock looked right at me and said, "How you doing, Bloomer?" That's a pretty big deal when somebody like Mr. Shyrock knows your name.
Absolutely. And it's a wonderful thing, and you really don't realize how many people are out there in the racing community until you go to like events like that, or just when you go travel as well, and say, there's a lot more people in this community than I thought.
Yeah. The Super Nationals is a prime example. Or, it's been about 10 years since I went to the Duel in the Desert. You go to races like that, and you talk to people, and they know who you are, and you have no idea who they are. It's just like, wow, it's crazy how somebody knows you just because of the racing community.
Absolutely. Evan, you have any questions?
You always do this to me.
Yes, I do.
I sit down here listening, and you're like, hey, you got anything?
Huh? My favorite color's red.
If you can't tell.
My favorite color's clear.
I do like clear, too. That's my second favorite.
I like to eat the blue crayons.
The blue ones? I like the bittersweet ones.
Oh, those are okay.
They're all right.
But actually, as a father myself, I can't thank you guys enough for putting this on.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I had my son, when we had our son, he was diagnosed with a condition called hydronephrosis, and they knew about it before he was born. They knew even more about it as soon as he was born, and within a month, we were referred to the Children's Hospital down here to start treatment, start evaluation, see what needed to be done. And so all of this, in a way, came full circle and became an even bigger picture, because we are now all of a sudden clients of the Children's Hospital. Fortunately, so far, we haven't had to be admitted or stay here, but we still have to partake in their services just to make sure my kiddo is doing okay and getting through his situation. So,
and just the stories that I've heard about the hospital, they do a wonderful job with their patients as well, and taking care of them.
Absolutely. Every single person that we've dealt with there, whether it be with our visit with the hospital or the Horsepower Drive, or our visits with our son Jeffrey, every single one of them seems to be extremely compassionate. They are more than happy to make sure that our needs are met. We've ran out of room in the stuffed animal net at home because of the things that Jeffrey gets when he comes down here. They just he walks in like a rock star, and they say, "Hey, how many stuffed animals do you want today?"
All of them.
Yep, every single one. Yeah.
My youngest has club foot, so I know exactly what you're talking about. We've been down here with them, and they've done a great job. We've got it taken care of.
Yeah.
If Scotty, my youngest.
Yep.
You wouldn't even realize he's got it.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. They do a wonderful job.
And the same with my son, too. And you cannot tell from the outside by his personality, by the way he acts, that there's anything wrong. He's a rock star with it. It doesn't bother him a bit. And even when we're here getting his tests done, he's a trooper, and they take it easy on him. They do the best they can to make it, I don't want to say invasive, but they just make it as comfortable as possible for him.
And that's the best type of care you can get, especially when in that situation.
Yeah, yep. Especially for a child that doesn't understand how to communicate as well, and say, "Hey, I don't like that." So, yep, they do a great job.
Absolutely. Well, Josh, thanks for coming on the show, man. Greatly appreciate it. And thank you for everything you do, not only for the racing community, but for the Holiday Horsepower Drive as well.
Absolutely, you bet.
Evan, Baby Back Blom has got a nice ring to it. Josh, I know you're listening, and I'm sorry. Buddy's the one that started it.
But it fits.
It does fit. It really does. It really does. Oh man, no, it was really fun talking with you, Josh, and thank you once again, and buddy, thank you too, just for what you guys do for this organization for the Holiday Horsepower Drive, and just in racing in general. You guys are awesome at what you do. We got one more person to talk to yet, Evan, as part of this Holiday Horsepower Drive special when we were at Racing with the Stars, and that would be Jeff Brunson. Just on the other side of this break, we're going to hear from the Sodak iRacing Series here first, and then our interview with Jeff Brunson.
The Sodak iRacing League is the premier iRacing league for drivers, crew members, fans, and sponsors in the tri-state area around South Dakota, Iowa, and Minnesota. From street stocks to super late models, modifieds to sprint cars, the Sodak iRacing League does them all. You can follow all of their seasons live and free on Advantage Racing TV. For more information, look for Sodak iRacing on Facebook or join the league by searching for Sodak under the Leagues tab on your iRacing account.
Sodak iRacing Series, yes, it has begun. You can catch it tonight at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on Advantage Racing TV's Facebook page and YouTube as well. Sodak iRacing Series, I believe Twitch is on there as well. And just, yeah, it's great. Love Sodak iRacing Series. You can catch it tonight. Sean Easted and myself will have the call. And yeah, it's something to do in the off season, as Evan, we have something to do in the off season as well, but you still got to have a little bit of track time though every now and then.
Oh, absolutely. I actually kind of got to watch a little bit of it this last week, and it's pretty cool.
Very cool indeed. Different, but very cool.
It is different. It's not like a regular, racetrack, but it's still very cool and entertaining.
Yes, it is. And speaking of making it to the track every now and then, our next guest here, Jeff Brunson, made it to the track a few times this year and even picked up a feature win. Jeff Brunson, the third installment here on this episode and the final member of the Holiday Horsepower Drive. Him and his wife, they do so much. And, the working with Josh and his wife and Buddy and his wife. And just these 6 wonderful people coming together for such a great cause. So we sat down with Jeff while at Racing with the Stars, talk about his career and what he does for the Holiday Horsepower Drive, and what it's going to be like coaching his son Caleb Brunson, who we've also had on the show already, and what to expect in 2022. So here is Jeff Brunson.
So we are still here at Joe's Karting, and you can hear the go-karts and the controlled chaos and carnage and whatever you'd want to call it in the background there. We have Jeff Brunson here with us now, and Jeff is also one of the guys behind this event, as well as the Holiday Horsepower Drive. And just to start off with, Jeff, thank you for everything you do for dirt track racing, not only in that, but for this event as well.
Thank you guys for keep coming out and helping us support this deal. I mean, really, it's not about just us 3 individuals and our wives. It really takes everybody, and you guys coming and help get this out there to spread the word really helps a lot.
And I mean, what better way to have fun, but also raise great money for a good cause and bring some smiles to children's faces when they're in a time of need as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with everything going on in the world today, I mean, it couldn't hit more close to home right now. I mean, these kids, really sick in the hospital and really need every little bit we can give them.
And we've said, Buddy races and Josh races, you race as well. And for some reason, sport mods seem to be the name of the game for you 3. How many years have you been racing, and just how is your connection from the sport mod world into the Holiday Horsepower Drive?
Well, that's kind of where we got to meet up with Buddy Ray way back in the day. I've been racing 25 years or so. We actually met up with Buddy down there at Blackbird Bend Speedway many moons ago, and I was really good, and Buddy, not so good. But and Buddy just started, coming over and asking me some questions, and I was helping him because I was doing pretty good. I fared out pretty well over the years, and that's kind of where we got the connection to. And then many years later, he decided to start this charity event, and here we are today. I think 16 years later.
16 years later, indeed. And I mean, just the amount of, just doing this, but then adding the go-kart racing onto it just a few years back now. I mean, like we said earlier, what a wonderful way just to not only bring the racing community together, just to have some fun, but just raise awareness and some great donations and money for the hospital as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, where else can you, the fans come and race head-to-head with their local favorite drivers? I mean, you got Dallin Murdy here. I mean, he drove all the way, across the country to get over here. I mean, some really talented, Rocky Cotto and Jason Coles. I mean, you have some of the best drivers in the surrounding area here. I mean, you as a fan would be, all up and all coming out here and racing and trading some paint with them in the go-karts.
Absolutely, and I mean, we've seen a lot of great racing, and all throughout this afternoon here down in Council Bluffs. And with the racing career that you mentioned, though, too, you kind of took a little bit of a break as your son Caleb. We had him earlier on the show here as well, and he's been following in your footsteps, so to speak. How was it when you decided to put Caleb behind the wheel? A little nerve-wracking, or no, he's got this?
Well, I mean, honestly, it was kind of down here is where it all come about. He was, 14 years old back then, and they were just really hesitant letting the youngin, come out here and join in the go-karts. And then once we let him into the go-karts on this Holiday Horsepower deal, he just started whipping all of our butts, and everybody's like, man, you should really get him in the karts or get him into something motorsports. And I'm like, I think he has the ability, and then I decided to step back, a little bit from my racing career, and what better way? I had a motor sitting there left over, and we bought a cheap car for $2,000, and I just put it together for him and said, go have some fun. And who would have knew he would ended up third in rookie points this year? I mean, with 9 feature wins in his total career of 2 years. I mean, it's, makes all of us very, very proud, that's for sure.
And just, growing up around the sport, though, too, with, him watching you race for all those years, does that kind of give him like maybe not really an advantage, but a little bit of know-how of what to do out there on the track just by watching you and learning from you all those years? Or?
Well, I think it does, but, a lot of times he goes off and messes with his kids' buddies instead of listening to what I tell him, kind of like Cole Trickle, listen to me, he wouldn't hardly ever lose a race, but,
right.
He does that thing. But, once in a while we have to kick him back to cloud, level ground here and get him tamed back up. But he's done. That's the last half of the season. We kind of took a little break to regain our marbles and then come out strong. I mean, he really impressed us at the last half of the season.
Absolutely, and looking forward to the future. And I know talking to him earlier, he said, "Yeah, I'm leaning more towards sport mod in the future." Is that something you're ready for him to get into, possibly, or what does the future look like for the Double OK?
Well, he really took a liking to that stock car Brad DeGroathouse let him drive. I mean, he did pretty well with that thing. I mean, he's got a lot of car control. I mean, the sport mod wouldn't be out of line, but then again, right now, I mean, the tires on the hobby stock are $50 compared to $150 tires for sport mod, and
right.
The wheels are double, and it pays the same to win. So, the same engine. So, I mean, we're very fortunate to, I can build our transmissions ourselves, so we got a few $200-300 in a transmission and stuff like that. I mean, and truly, I've been working a lot, working my butt off for, helping him fund his racing, but, it doesn't come easy for him because he knows he wrecks it, he's fixing it. I do the mechanical stuff and I do what I need to do, but at the end of the day, he helps change the gear. He pounds out the dents. He has the body off of it. I mean, him and the neighborhood kids, and you know what? It keeps them all out of trouble, and he's, that's what the name of the game is. He's building a lot of good fans out there.
And just, I would have to think, the time spent in the shop just as a family and that father-son bond. I mean, you've been doing this for years and now teaching him, the ways of racing and, going from a pit guy to a driver now. Just the bond and just the memories you guys are making, that's got to be one of the best feelings in the world, watching your kid, get into this sport as well.
Oh, absolutely, and he's definitely learning that the race is won in the garage just as much as it is out there on the track. And, making sure the nuts and bolts are tight. Just like, I'm after him about checking the front end, making sure the front end is in line and all that other stuff weekly. And we have our certain maintenance stuff, but he's really, didn't really have a grasp of how bad that the car would handle if them little things aren't right, prepared in the shop. And that's the biggest part he's trying to figure out, and that's what I'm trying to instill in him, that, you just because you're the best driver, you better have your nuts and bolts right and everything as good as it can be, because there's always somebody out there that's better.
Absolutely. And I mean, just to have the experience he's had, and Evan, you and I being hobby stock drivers as well, he's come so far, just like you said, Jeff, in the 2 years. And, I would say he's got a great dad and a great crew chief behind him as well.
Yeah, thank you, guys. I definitely, I spent most of I did the hobby stocks probably 2 or 3 years. I won a handful of races back in the old days, but then it took me a while to try to grasp some of what I've learned there. And, after racing 20 years, you pick up little tricks and traits and all this stuff, and, just try to apply that to the hobby stock, and and he's really driving the wheels off it, and the biggest thing I'm trying to instill in him is, I don't really care where you finish as much as, but you better drive everybody with dignity and respect every night. That's the name of the game. And certain times you're going to get roughed up and you're going to want to send somebody sailing, but just keep your calm and drive your wheels off your own car.
Exactly. And we saw you out a handful of times here in 2021 with a Sport Mod. How did those few nights go for you?
Really, really good. We ended up good. Some of our best friends, Rick and Lori Wynn, give me the opportunity to drive their car this year, and I wish we could have took it out more. Like I said, my work schedule was kind of hectic this year, but I took it out probably 6 or 7 times, and I ended up winning one feature with it and got 3 or 4 top 4s with it. So the car is really, really good. I wish I could race it some more. Hopefully next season things work out better, but our main focus this year was making sure Caleb had the funds and had every opportunity to run for that rookie title this year. I mean, I just wish things earlier in the year would have worked out better. Had a couple tracks, and he could have got a point championship at one of our other tracks. He'd have definitely been up there. But falling a little bit behind, a little short. He runs clean all season, and he sure likes that little track at Raceway. I tell you, Mom's always little spectacle about that, because and that's the thing, people go there, they get mad because he bump and rub, but that's what that track brings. That's just what it's going to be. And if you don't like that kind of racing, then you shouldn't probably race there. And that's what I tell Caleb all the time. He gets upset, gets taken out, bumped and banged, but that's little Bristol, basically.
Rubbin's racing when it all comes down to it.
Exactly. Make sure you give everybody dignity and respect, and that's about all you can do. Try to make your mark, and I think he's doing pretty well so far.
Yeah, I've always had this question, and I can finally ask it. You as a father, how does it feel with your son out there racing? You watching him? Does it get nerve-wracking? Gun-shy watching him, or is it just another day at the racetrack?
It's tough, because on one hand, I'm like, you need to drive this and don't hit this guy and don't do that. But then again, then he'll go out and he'll start driving too conservative, and it's like, he's not trying. But then it's hard to push that limit as a race driver. You have to be aggressive, but not get into people. And that's where I have the hardest part. The absolute hardest part is trying to get that line. He has to find that line in it too, and he just can't be afraid to make some changes to the car. And yeah, Mia's, I'm probably his biggest critic. I'm seeing the little things, and I'm like, you're making a mistake here. You're making, I could, and he's so afraid of me touching the car and adjusting the car until, about mid-season. I just, let him go hang out with his friends, and I made some changes to the car, and he didn't know about it.
As a crew guy, I know exactly what you mean by that.
Same here. Just leave it alone. Leave it alone. I'm like, the front end is not working. We have to fix this. And
just go run away. Go to the concession stand, do whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay here. and you just go. I'll watch the car, make sure nobody touches it.
Exactly right. And I'm like, you know what? Unless you're out there setting track records, there's always something we can tinker with and try. And I'm not one to, go for the long shot. You got to try something, and you never know. You might hit on something, but he sure makes it look easy sometimes, some nights, Once he gets in his rhythm, he sure does well.
And that he does. And I mean, once again, Jeff, we just got to say thank you for coming on. Thank you for everything you're doing here in dirt track racing and with the Holiday Horsepower Drive, and being part of this event as well. And good luck in 2022.
Thank you, guys. Looking forward to it, and looking forward to talking to you guys later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Man, I tell you, Evan, Jeff is just like Josh and Buddy. He's got some stories, and that family is going far in racing.
They really are. It's really cool to sit down and talk with a racer himself and a father to a race car driver.
You really don't see that all that often. I mean, you do, but you don't. So you get both sides of, of the story of, okay, so I've done this now to pass it on to Caleb, and then, Caleb pass it on to his kids someday. Although, Caleb in a sport mod and Jeff in a sport mod, if that ever comes to be, that's got to be so much fun racing with your dad, though.
I got a couple buddies here in my neck of the woods that it is a father-son duo. They both run sport mods. Their cars look almost identical to each other.
And
they just have a blast. They have a blast.
Yeah, it is a blast for sure. And I mean, Evan, I know you're looking forward to racing with your kids someday as well. And hopefully, that is a goal of mine as well. I think that would be every father-son goal would just to be out on the racetrack racing against each other each and every week.
Me as a father myself, that's something I'm really looking forward to. I got my boys that love racing, but I also have my daughter that wants to get into it as well. And so I think, and having, racing with my son would be cool, but racing with my daughter would be even cooler.
And she's going to beat all the boys. You already know this.
Oh, we know this. That's going to happen.
She's going to lead the way, and Daddy's going to run blocker.
Yeah. That's how it's going to happen. I'm not going to have a choice in it.
Absolutely. We got upcoming events coming up next here, but first we're going to hear from Advantage Racing TV and AOK Photography. And just on the other side, we've got some Sodak Racing series to cover, as well as what to expect in the next few weeks here on the show. Stay tuned.
Advantage Racing TV is your source for local entertainment in the tri-state area. From compacts to late models and sprint cars, Advantage Racing TV has just what you need to cure your racing ailments. Check them out online at www.advantageracing.tv and take advantage of your racing addiction.
AOK Photography and Design is the place for all your photo needs. AOK does racing hero cards, blankets, canvas, racing sponsor photos, as well as other personalized items. Located out of Montevideo, Minnesota, they can get what you need at an affordable price. Check them out on Facebook for more information, and you'll find that their guaranteed service is A-OK.
And we are back with upcoming events, closing out a very, very special episode here, recorded at Racing with the Stars in Council Bluffs, Iowa at Joe's Karting for benefiting the Holiday Horsepower Drive. And yes, Advantage Racing TV, AOK Photography, cannot thank them enough for being on the show. Both produce such a quality product.
Yes, they really do. They're pretty cool.
Pretty cool indeed. So upcoming events, so we talked about it earlier a little bit, Evan. Sodak iRacing Series tonight, Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Central. Do not miss it. Advantage Racing TV Facebook pages where you will find it, as well as www.advantageracing.tv. Look up Sodak iRacing on YouTube and Twitch as well. I know they're going to be doing a few other things. So this series is great. We've got 2 races down and 8 to go, I believe, yet. Last season was killer. This season is shaping up to be even better than last season was. Don't miss it. If you do, you're going to regret it. This is one of the best series out there in iRacing. Evan, coming up on the show in the next few weeks, we've got some great guests too. Caleb Brunson, we've had him on. He ended up winning the Racing with the Stars at the event when we were there. We got Blaze Coffee on, a kart racer himself going sport mod. Fun to talk to him, so look for that interview within the next coming weeks. And we've got a few others that we're just gonna keep in the box for now. We're not gonna let them escape because it's a little bit of a surprise.
Exactly. We can't tell all of our secrets.
No. We can't tell all of our secrets. Just a few, but not all of them. So look for those interviews within the next coming weeks. Want to say a big thank you to Buddy Ray Jones as well as Josh Blom and Jeff Brunson for being on the show today. You guys rock. I don't care what anyone else says. You guys rock. You guys are awesome at what you do with Holiday Horsepower Drive. And yes, thank you. Thank you to Matthew Broadus as well as Sean Neested and Jerry Van Sickle for helping out with the show each and every week. Evan, thank you for being here each and every week, man. It's fun co-hosting with you.
Absolutely, man. And like I say, week in, week out, stay blessed, stay kind, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week, indeed. Thank you, all race fans, for tuning in. We could not do this without you. Take care.